What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 reasons why remote freelancers will fail on your project. Before we get into that, the first thing I want to talk about is that what got you to the freelancer in the first place, and that is their rate, and you guessed it, their rate. Let's face it, a lot of people are looking to get better rates. They're looking to, save money. But that comes at a very high cost, and so just keep that in mind as we kind of go through this. So the first one is failing to organize. You rely on the freelancer to organize themselves and their life priorities, including you. There's no structured framework for them to follow or control their stream of work to prioritize your work tasks. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. They're juggling a lot of things, and as you've heard me say in the other videos, you don't know if their environments are structured or not, which means that's going to play a big factor in how they handle your project and how things will be delivered in a timely manner. And it's just because they're failing to organize. There's a lot that goes on in the remote world. So this was a big thing, is how to kind of organize. And I have other videos on how to organize and structure your environment. I'm going to be doing videos on kind of task management, time management in a remote setting. So that's the first thing you got to consider. The second thing you need to understand is giving in to stress. Freelancers do not deal with stress well because they don't have a vested interest in your project. If yours fails, they will simply find someone else to work with. Well, why is that so important? Because your project is super important. Your project needs to get done. It's just not a priority for them. They've got other stuff going on. And so that point right there about giving into stress, if you stress them out, you'll probably lose your freelancer. And then good luck finding another one and rinse and repeat the cycle. The third one, this is oftentimes very hidden, is skills limitations. Is most projects, even small ones, require technical skills outside the freelancer's area of expertise. Are they going to tell you that? No. Most of the time, no, because it's a great way for them to learn on your dime. So depending on what your project is and kind of, the skill set you're looking for, just be truthful to yourself and understand, are there other things I'm asking this person to do? Because if you are, that right there, skills limitations, could be friction and leading to failure. Now, keep in mind, you're doing all this remotely, and there's other tools I have in the channel you can download and use for free, help you kind of overcome these barriers of understanding what their skills limitations might be, and also making sure that you're not putting them in a position where they're not able to handle these kinds of things and their skills are limited and they're not telling you, because you're not seeing this person face to face most of the time, right? If you're working remotely, that's the whole purpose of this channel. You're kind of going on a limb and trusting what they're saying. The next one of project failures I've seen quite a bit on, especially in remote work, is rate changes. Their rate change is based on personal circumstances. One day you may get a great rate, the next time you're going to pay more or wait 2 months after they finish the other project they took on because it pays better than yours. Big thing to understand when you're working remotely. You got to funnel the taps on the work stream. Dumping a bunch of stuff on someone that is working remotely and just thinking they're going to take care of it because you don't see them, recipe for disaster. So there's got to be small measurable chunks you can deliver or ask remotely, get them to give you that, and then you watch for those signs that we talked about, the communication, how are they responding. Next on the list, number 5, is flexibility. These guys are freelancers because they demand flexibility. You take that away from them and requiring them to get away from that and trying to structure them, you'll be looking for your next freelancer. I mean, this is oftentimes something that's missed because of the false sense of reality that people have about working remotely. People think that because I work remotely, that you are able to unplug and spend a bunch of time with your family, and you can do all those things. That's what this channel is about. But you don't know if that other person is capable of doing those things and where they're at in their remotepreneur career. So when you do something like that and you start taking away their flexibility because your project is urgent, that again is going to lead to a lot of friction and potentially loss of the relationship. Mistakes I've made time and time again, I cannot tell you. Number 6, lack of support. Freelancers do not have a team to support other skill sets like design, project management, testing, depending on what kind of projects you're doing. So guess who's going to do all that? You got it. You're a unicorn freelancer. So this is a really painful topic to accept, because you think that the freelancer can do all these things because they represent themselves as being able to do all these things. But then it comes down to execution and they can't. And the reason why they can't is because they need your money. And also they don't want to tell you they can't do it because they might risk losing you. Unless, of course, someone easier comes along. Again, watching for those clues on how these people operate remotely and what they do is really important. Number 7, life. They get married, they get divorced, they have children, they get sick. Every human goes through something like this. And when they do, you will not be a priority until they decide otherwise. So keep in mind, when you're working remotely, you don't have people coming into an office. They might be in a bad mood, but they're actually sitting right next to you or across the table from you, or 2 offices down. You can walk over and ask them to finish something. When you're remote, you got nothing, right? You're totally depending on them to finish the job. You're totally depending on them to take responsibility. And there's a lot of people that do that really, really well, but there is a lot more people that do not do that very well. And that's something you need to watch out for, is kind of what life stage they may or may not be at in their career, because it will affect your project. Financials. Freelancers don't have appropriate accounting measures in place, so your billing's not going to be consistent. If they need $1,000 for rent this week or next week, and your project is $5,000, you guessed it, they can do the entire project for $2,500 and a $1,000 deposit. I think this, you got the picture. This is pretty self-explanatory. Just be careful with that, because unless they're structured and you look for the signs of them being structured, then you're going to run into issues with pricing as well. Another big one, obviously recent to COVID, is COVID-19 itself. Many people were forced to be laid off, and they're only doing freelance work until they find their next suitable job. So you are sponsoring their job search. Yes, you are sponsoring their job search. So be careful with that. Checking their history on how long they've been working as a freelancer is very important. If you see, oh, I just started doing freelancing because I lost my job, bingo, there's a high probability that person is looking to go back to work full-time, and your project is just sponsoring a job search. Lastly, is time zones. So trying to do everything over email or late night phone calls will wear everybody down, and long-term sustainability is compromised. A lot of these freelancers that work remotely do grossly underestimate the toll it takes to work in multiple time zones. The picture they have in their head is they're going to go surfing in the morning, using this random example, surfing in the morning, they're going to work on your project in the afternoon, they're going to have dinner with their girlfriend, they're going to go to bed. That doesn't work. Your time needs change, stuff changes. If they're not structured, I keep coming back to structure, because it's very important that you understand what their structure is working remotely, and collaboration and how they actually produce the work is very important. So there's your top 10 reasons that I've seen projects fail, especially with remote folks. because of those specific things that I mentioned. So hopefully you found this video very valuable. If there's anything else you'd like me to talk about or give insight about, please do comment below, and I'll definitely do my best to shoot out a video on that topic. As always, thank you very much for watching this. Hope you learned something today. Onwards and upwards.